Hey everybody, and welcome to We're the New Adults. It's your boy TJ Williams. I'll be your host for this podcast, and today I have my lovely sister Genevelyn.
Hi.
Yes, so we're going to get into some things today, some things that are very important. Saving is very important. Something that I'm learning still to this day as a new adult. You're a new adult still as well.
Yes. Forever young.
Forever young.
Forever young.
So we're gonna get into it. So without further ado, welcome to We're the New Adults. Episode 5, Saving versus Yolo. Just the idea of saving and how important it really is to get to where we want to be. When was it when saving was like important to you, or you feel like it was important to start saving?
So number one, saving is so important. It was something that I realized was extremely important to me when I actually stepped foot into adulthood, and what that looked like for me was becoming a mommy.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I embarked on that journey, it got real.
Right.
And so saving became the thing that needed to be done.
Yes, and that was like college time.
That was
right?
college time. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I was in school, and it just was something that I needed to take on responsibility for.
Yeah, and I feel like me with college, we all been told that we need to save, but it's just so hard just putting the effort forward. And it's funny, that you say that, a child was the reason why you got serious about it. But, for a lot of us, children aren't, never come about. So it's just like, what is the reason for other people as well that, they should start saving?
So one of the reasons I would say is college debt. If you're in school,
Mm-hmm.
you may have had to deal with financial aid, deal with being able to say no to the refund. I was somebody that got trapped by the refund.
Me too. And honestly, with the refunds, Mama she told us both to not do the refunds, but we still went ahead and got the refunds. And I feel like there are several reasons why we did, we could have did right by it, but
Right.
we didn't. So I feel like number one, us doing the refunds, it could have went towards our future, it could have went towards the right things, but
Most
we
definitely.
chose to be more in the present and goes for like things that we wanted in that moment. So
Most definitely.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
So what it looked like for me was when my friends, my homegirls, whoever, they were like, "You got your refund? You got your refund?" I'm like, "What refund?" And for me, I didn't have to take out any loans. I didn't need to take out any loans for school, but I did fall under that pressure, I'll call it. And I got on that train and I rode the train, and it was kind of motivated by, the rest of my peers wanted to be cute when I go out, feeling like I'm grown. Okay,
Right.
It's my money, even though I had to pay it back. I didn't take on that full just responsibility of what it means. I
Right.
didn't fully take that on.
But you did know.
But I did. I knew, but I didn't know like I know
Right.
like I know now.
Now that we having the payback on it, you didn't know.
Yeah. It's definitely a different mindset that I have now. And so what I would encourage young adults who are in college, if you don't have to go that route, don't. Parties, clothes,
Trips. That was me
concerts.
taking trips, spending my last literally whole refund on a trip. Just trying to, for my generation, I do feel like social media played a big part of it. Me trying to, at that time, post for the gram. Let me make it seem like I have this lifestyle, because I have this money at the moment, when it should have been going towards after college life.
Yeah.
So like then after college, it was like me trying to pick up the pieces where I could have been prepared, and now I wasn't. Also, I know you talked about your clothes, your fashion sense. That was a huge part of what you want to spend your refunds on. And I feel like with us, we didn't come from a lot. We didn't have much. So having money like that, having a big sum of money like that, we were able to get those clothes, get the fashion, that we had visioned in our mind.
Yes, that was something I definitely benefit from. Getting it, not really thinking about anything other than in the moment.
Right.
I know, I want to go with this look. I was wanting to go to the parties, wanted to stand out, amongst, the crowds, just wanted to kind of not really into trends at that particular time, but wanted to self-express in what I wore, and, not having the opportunity before to be able to just kind of, go out and get what I wanted.
So, of course, do you feel like that was a people-pleasing at the time?
I do. Even though social media wasn't a big thing when I was in school, it still was that same type of mentality that people can have, okay, what they got on, what they doing, this, that, and the other, and trying to keep up with, what's happening with who and whatever.
Right.
Okay, so that was a thing for me. And, just wanted to finally be in control of, what I have going on when it came to my fashion, and being able to, if it's a certain brand I wanted to wear that I wasn't able to, coming up, it's something I definitely wanted to embark on.
And now that I'm done with college, I'm starting to realize, like, it's okay to not have all that stuff in college. I feel like you said, it's a want to kind of prove yourself in a way. Although you may know who you are and, setting the trends and everything, it still is like you're trying to show everyone else, oh, look at me, So that was something I felt prone to as well, and wish I would have did things differently. But it's okay. We're learning. We're becoming new adults. We're learning and growing. So
yes.
Finding the balance. So obviously, we want to do things. They call it Yolo. You only live once. We outside. That whole thing. But at the same time, it's just like, okay, when does that become, okay, let me pause on being outside, you only live once, and actually think about my future, That's a hard balance that I feel like a lot of people my age have a hard time finding, and I'm still having a hard time finding it. So do you have any advice to, like, how?
Absolutely. So I will say this is still a journey. However, what I would encourage you and others to remember is, number one, at the end of the day, when you come into the world of adulthood, you're the one who's responsible for the things that you're taking on. You're responsible for your bills, any debt you take on, nobody else. Anything that comes in your name comes in your name. And you have to be able to ask yourself and take self-accountability and say, what is my plan for my future? How is this adding value to my future and what it is that I'm trying to accomplish? And I would say for those who are in college, I would say it's really important to start getting on top of that once you're in your core content. And so now for the younger generation, you have the luxury of being able to, take college credits when you're in high school. And so, you kind of bypass that. So it's really good to get started as soon as you get in college, because those 4 years, they fly by.
Do they? Oh my God.
And so, 6 months after you graduate, if you've taken on any type of debt for student loan, the lender wants their money back.
Right.
And so on top of that, you're having to walk into, the other side of adulthood, which is taking on responsibility for if you're going to be looking for a place to stay on your own if you're not already.
Right.
What it looks like for taking on the full responsibility of transportation, insurance. You really have to be able to sit and say, what do you want for yourself and your future? What do you want that to really look like? I wanted my future to look like I don't have to, my mom used to say, rob Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
I didn't want that to be my life.
Right.
I wanted to be a person with good credit. I didn't want to be a person that got told no when it came to, okay, when I'm ready to buy a house, when I'm ready to buy a car, whatever. I wanted to be a person that was a smooth process for. And so I just think it's developing your mindset, setting boundaries, and also being a person that is just on top of your game when it comes to having willpower.
Yeah. I do feel like friends play a big role in that. Not wanting to disappoint your friends, like, oh, TJ, come out and do this, but instead of saying no, we're like, okay, maybe I can squeeze a little or take a little from here and go do those things. But a lot of times we don't want to disappoint our friends, and sometimes the friendships become at stake whenever you're constantly can't do things with them, or constantly, oh guys, I can't, do it. So can you talk about that a little bit and the importance of?
Yes. And you know what, that was a hard journey, and still can be a difficult journey for me with that process. And you and I are similar in that when it comes to our friends, not wanting to hurt them, wanting them to feel like, they're supported just like they support us.
Right.
But one of the things that I started doing once I realized, this is a barrier for me. This is something I'm not happy with having to pick and choose, especially if I'm challenging myself on something financially.
Right.
So what I would do, I would get my bank statements. I would highlight the things that I was spending my money on the most. And so for me, that looked like eating out.
Right.
And so when
Same.
I realized that, I'm like, you know what? I can cut back because, the people who are important to me or the things that are important to me, I could be using this to support them and not have that, I guess, that heartbreak that's attached to disappointing your friend, or not being able to show up or do things that are really important to you. Also, it could be scaling back with your hair, with your nails, things like that. And so, it's just different things that you can do. So if you really
care about your friends, you can pull away from something else.
Yeah, you can make a sacrifice somewhere. Now, and that's if, the friendship is a solid friendship and you have the same values and they're a friend that will do something like that for you. Now, if it's an emergency, friends should understand. True friends are going to be understanding. But when it comes to things like I take a calendar and I have all of my friends and, my loved ones' birthdays and I know, okay, hey, this person may decide they want to do something for this, this event or for their birthday or what have you. And I'll take time to say, okay, let me go around this time and see where I can scale back so that I can be able to show up for them the same way that they show up for me.
Right. Okay. I'm definitely taking all the notes with this because it's definitely something I'm just trying to learn and do better at, because becoming a new adult is definitely hard, especially trying to prioritize your responsibilities and your friend.
I would just always say, number one, I'm going to always say go to your foundation. And for me, my foundation is Christ.
Right.
So I just want to sum that up with that. Anytime I'm feeling overwhelmed with something, especially when it comes to finances, number one, I know that God is going to be a provider. But he also talks about being a good steward over your things. And so since we're on the topic of finances, Yolo, saving versus savings, then I want to lead with, what would God have me do with this?
Right.
What kind of life does he want me to have?
Yes.
And I know the God I serve, he wants me to have the best. So I have to want that same thing for myself. And in doing that may sometimes mean that I can't be outside. I may have to skip brunch.
Right.
I may have to do brunch at home. I may have to meal prep instead of going to lunch, with my colleagues or my homegirls, whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'll say with. I'd like to close with that. Just always going back to my foundation, which is Christ, and, what he would have me to do. And that is be a good steward over the things he's blessed me with.
Hey, he's always the answer.
Yes.
Amen to that. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you, my sister, for coming on my podcast.
Thank you for having me. Yes. I'm honored. I really am.
Oh my God, stop it.
I really am.
Thank you. So, without further ado, that is the end of this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Yes. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.